How about now? Can you hear me now? How about now? Do I have audio now? Somebody let me know in the comments. 5x5. It's back. Awesome. Well, we didn't talk too long without it. Thank you, Joe. Let's just say hi to everybody. So my computer is upgraded to Windows 11. And now, this is just the second time that I caught it. Every time I fire up OBS, it changes my microphone. So it used to default to the Rodecaster Pro. Now it's defaulting to something else, and so I'll have to check into that. But the only thing you really all missed was me talking about how we answer all contact forms that come in. And, so don't ever feel like you're putting us off or whatever. We do. We answer all of those. My email address is floating around. So reach out if you need something. And somebody says that they love the coffee cup. My wife actually bought this coffee cup for me. So I love it too. Okay. So had a little accident with my streaming computer. It's really time to buy one anyway, but I'm going to look and see what kind of specials are going on. Best Buy had some gaming laptops, and so anytime I buy something for the business, I try to get what I need and try to get it inexpensively. So I'll be looking at that over the next few weeks. But so we've got to go grocery shopping today. And I don't know if you all remember this. This is the Ubiquiti. This is the front row camera. This is mine. And I still have the necklace thing. Do you remember on this that there's a necklace thing? It goes on the top, and then you wear this like a thing. And so I thought, because I don't embarrass my wife enough as it is already, I think that I'm going to wear this in time-lapse mode grocery shopping this morning. I thought that would be fun. I was going through some stuff, found it. Also, if you are familiar with this device and the form factor, you know that after they created this camera and stopped selling it, they actually created this, I believe, to get this design down correctly, because this is what your Unify Access, some of your gear is made out of. So I think this was the precursor. I think that the Unify Access stuff was in the pipeline, and they needed something, and they're like, oh, hey, let's test the capabilities of this. I don't think the front row camera was ever intended to be a long-term product. And if you own a business, your accountant will tell you can write certain things off. You can't write other things off. I mean, you spin up a whole new division. It's everything that's all a write-off to get something right. So, I don't know if she'll be embarrassed or not. So, good morning, Dave Robertson. Good morning, everyone. Let's see. Morning, everybody. So the name of the stream this morning is Switch Saturday. You saw Cody did a video on this. You see some other YouTubers doing videos on it. So Ingenious had sent me some access points a long time ago, kind of like I didn't specifically request them. They reached out. I said, sure, send them over. So I've got those, and I never did a video on them. And my intention was, because they were the first Wi-Fi 6 AP that I had, I didn't get to it. So then they asked me, like, hey, you want new switch and APs? Because I really want to get my hands on their new router, because they've got a router in the space, and it's competing against Fortinet and SonicWall and Ubiquiti, and it's competing, and it's supposed to have some pretty high-end features. And that's really what I wanted. And they said, okay, if we send you a switch and some APs and you do a video on those, then we'll send you the router. So deal. But what they did for me was when they sent me this switch, and you saw I posted a short on this. When they sent this to me, they sent me the non-PoE version and sent me a power brick because the non-PoE version is cheaper. And they sent all the other reviewers the PoE version. So 2.5 gig switch, unless you're doing 2.5 gig to your NAS, is not really good for much without without PoE, because you don't want all those PoE injectors. So I emailed them and I'm like, hey, is there a PoE version of this? And Cody actually was the one that was like, hey, mine's got PoE. And then everybody else that I saw their reviews were coming online, everybody had PoE except for me. So I'm going to make that very clear in my review that I was the only reviewer that was sent. Because I honestly don't have, unless I was specifically designing 2.5 gig storage for NASs, I specifically would never use a 2.5 gig switch without PoE. So you'll see a review on this. I'm going to get my GrandStream stuff out first. I still got to talk about the Koi box that I've got from QNAP, and that device is difficult. You saw Chris from Crosstalk do a bit of a video on it, but he didn't. He kind of went in about how they were using it in one of their classes that they taught. So I'm coming at it from a little bit of a different, viewpoint. Also, if we were to do Synology training, like a 2-day admin training, how many people would be interested in something like that? I think that one we could do remotely. And then we've had some people asking for, Unify training. I can't give you a certification in that, but we can do training. So Joe says, dude, Tony sent you the ATEM 2. Yeah, I've got the ATEM sitting right over there, but I need to get a different camera for it because my M50 doesn't work properly with it. And you have to do some hacky workarounds. And so I need to order a camera, and I just haven't got to it. But I do want to streamline the way that this is set up. Morning, David. Yeah, so we're getting like 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts right now. And right before I went live, you could hear the rain and like leaves like beating against my office window. I have never seen our garbage cans tipped over, and they were tipped over this morning. Hey, Jeremy's in the house. Jeremy started doing some shorts over there with some Linux management tips and tricks. Go check out Jeremy's channel, Practical IT with Jeremy. He does a lot of good content, especially around Linux. There's I don't find a lot of Linux channels that I enjoy, but I do enjoy his. Morning, Robert. Joe, I need a new machine because I edit my videos on this machine too. So it's time to upgrade it. Oh, interesting. Jeremy, can you email that to me? Ryan, we actually took the big skeleton and the witch down yesterday because of the wind. But yeah, I actually got 2 videos out this week, and I really enjoyed both of the videos this week. So everybody let me know too. Yeah, Kyle's right there. Kyle says, with the price, you can get a 10 gig switch these days for NAS. I agree about not using a 2.5 gig without PoE. So I'm gonna do the video because I want to get my hands on the router. The other thing is I am trying to get a Barracuda appliance. I've been looking on eBay. I've been trying to get a Barracuda appliance to start doing some Barracuda videos because their firewall has just fantastic features. They support every VPN under the sun. Plus they've got, if you remember the Jeremy I'll bet you'll remember this. There was a VPN server called SSL Explorer. It ran on Linux, and it did things at the time that no other VPN server did, right? So you could do like reverse proxies and just all this awesome VPN stuff without having to have a client installed on the machine. Well, Barracuda bought that project. Now you can still go download SSL Explorer. It's still out there. It's still available, but it hasn't had any updates. Now, of course, Barracuda is keeping that up to date. But one of the things that I really like is how easy it was to integrate the Barracuda with Active Directory and then to enable multi-factor authentication. It is absolutely insanely easy. So, in fact, I opened a ticket because I was confused about something, and I was like, "Hey, can I get, and the great thing, here's the thing about Barracuda. So, if you rely on them for anything of importance, a lot of times you will have to call them off hours, and they can get you in, and their support is really good. But what they did, they said, we can get a tech on the line, but here's this help article. Go to this, and their help articles are written like they are written so well that I was able to just go right through there. Like everything that I wanted to accomplish with that was done in about 6 to 8 hours in the beginning, and that was me learning the UI and doing all those things. And now I'm starting to like fine tune the configuration. Like if I've got users that connect and only need to connect to a certain subnet, right? We're writing policies that are specific for groups. And it just works. It's amazing. And it's very, very inexpensive. So yeah, Barracuda is big in the spam filtering world and email archiving. They've got one of the better email archivers, in my opinion, out there. So what is everybody else doing on this Saturday? Ryan, I know you're dodging raindrops. All right, Gibby says, don't know if you can say anything, but in the Grandstream newsletter said they are releasing their switches soon. Limited info, but no 2.5 gig, only a gig. Right. And because they're really, Gibby, the switches, I think I will tell you that I was in like a study group where they asked us, like, what do you want to see in these switches? We talked about 10 gig uplinks. We talked about PoE and all that. 2.5 and 5 gig didn't really come up because the way that we're going to, build these, I don't know how. I mean, 2.5 and 5. I mean, I would prefer that they skip those and just go right to a multi-gig port that can go up to 10 gigs. But I'm sure that adds more cost to it as well. Now, I took a screenshot of that, Gibby, and I sent it over to my contact, and I was like, hey, they're saying these switches are going to be released November, December. And he goes, yes, they are coming. You're first on the list. And that was really all the information. They're not going to beta. So I think I was right that the switches were released in other countries. They took all the feedback and everything from those other countries, and I think you're going to see a more complete product. Now, I can tell you that depending on how the switches are received and accepted into the portfolio, you will see, I know that plans exist for higher end switches. Now, they don't want to compete with, that the data center core stuff. That's not where they're at. But you're going to see higher density switches. Let's see. Yes, you can do tagging on the WAN port of the UDM. It's when you go in and create the WAN network. JH, it's right there. No, Grandstream and I get along like peanut butter and jelly, like bread and butter. So they won't remove the PoE from mine. But I am going to get that GWN 7664 video knocked out. Right now, my Wi-Fi setup here is the 7660. 7660 is our main AP, and then our secondary AP that was wireless uplinked until this morning was just a 7630. So I'm going to do the video on the 7664. I'm going to go ahead and do the video on the 7062, which is the router. This is going to become our head-end router, and we'll control the other AP. So, but yeah, Gibby, totally excited for their switches, and he knows. Because I've been pushing them, right? So what does this mean? This means besides the NAS, and I really don't want them to get into the NAS business, what I would like is if they worked with Synology and they had an OEM, NAS that said Grandstream on it with a rebranded firmware and basically runs surveillance station. Now they've got their own surveillance software, so they could do a NUC or something if you need 100% turnkey, but like this is turnkey enough that now, and I mean, I'm configuring this weekend a 3-site network with site-to-sites and voice network, and I'm doing it with the GWN 7062 TP-Link switches and Grandstream APs, right? I wish that the switches were available because now it's a total turnkey package. Everything is manageable from GWN.cloud or GWN Manager. And, but wishing one and the other and see which one fills up first, but we'll get there. There'll be so many turnkey networks designed next year around Grandstream. It's going to be crazy. Joe says, good documentation is such an underrated piece of a company. Features, no docs. Grandstream and Synology also have awesome documentation on their websites. And in fact, where Grandstream used to just be PDFs, now they are actually building out an online library where you can go to the article or you can download the PDF. So I'm super excited about that. David Anderson says, been toying with remote desktop software DW service. Anyone tried or used this? I have not. Hey, Joe, I think we should bring the Tech Quartet back. If Tony was here, we could get a consensus on it, but I think we should bring the Tech Quartet back this month. JH says, I'd love to see more smaller data center switches from some places. I have a ton of micro servers that don't have a huge network impact, so I could use something smaller than the Nexus QFX. I end up having to get EdgeCore. So if it's EdgeCore, the brand, I've been trying to get some of their switches. But if you haven't checked out Planet, check out Planet. Planet makes fantastic switches. Kyle says, JH, why not virtualize? So JH runs an operation that's big enough that VMware cares about him, but VMware has made it very clear that smaller customers aren't as appreciated as big customers, which is not any way to do business. Finally, after 4 years of messing up, Veeam has come back to me and said, we can give you better pricing. Sorry, that ship has sailed. We're going to keep using Synology for our VM backup. It just works good for us. And that's what I recommend for everybody. If you're on Microsoft 365, if you're on Google or whatever. And by the way, if you have ever emailed Synology, Synology does eat their own dog food. And Synology is running Mail Plus for their email server. So I was hoping that JH would have an extra AdTran switch he could send over for me to evaluate. All right, what else do we have going on? Just kind of a blah Saturday morning. It's gray, it's windy, it's supposed to rain all day, and the temperature is supposed to drop like almost 20 degrees. So Alonzo says, good morning, just leaving the pickleball court. Yeah, pickleball is one of those sports that's picking up popularity all over the place. And those pickleballers, they can get crazy. I remember in high school getting beaten when I was a freshman by the seniors with the pickleball paddles. That was something that they always thought was fun. My shirt says there's magic in the air, and it's called Wi-Fi. My wife got this for me a few years ago. It's a little tight in the belly area right now. I'm working on that. But, yeah. Cody says, what about those Unify 6 Plus APs? Unless they do a video on it, we won't talk about it really in the stream. However, I will tell you, I was just browsing YouTube the other day, and I just put in, Ubiquity, because everybody starts a YouTube channel, and what was I going to say? The comments got me thrown off. Oh, but anyway, there's some people out there that have made it very clear that they're not professional YouTubers, and so they are doing unboxing of EA Store products, and I can neither confirm or deny that I enjoy that content, but it's out there if you're looking for it. You won't see me do it. You probably won't see Cody, Chris, or Tom do it. Yeah. All right, over to the comments. Unky Joe says he's always up for a chat with us. We're always up for a chat with you too. JH says, how's the CWNA studies going? So I have until the 29th of this month to take that exam using my voucher. So on what I've got to do over the weekend is I got to decide with Pearson, do I want to try to create a room and do the exam at home, or do I want to go to the test center? So I'll decide that over the weekend. I'll actually schedule the exam on Monday. Yeah, Cody says there's tons of Dreamwall gear out there. I wonder what happened. I heard that there was a problem with the FCC and the Dreamwall Pro, and I don't know whether this is true or not, but I would like to know. I had heard it had been was going to be released, because I think there's some other countries that the Pro has already been released. So Joe, you're obviously signed into YouTube with the Tech for Fun account, so you could just temporarily stream using that if you wanted. Morning, Steve. JH says he tends to do test centers. I was kind of leaning on that because somebody I know had a bad experience with the test at home experience. Had showed the proctor the room, forgot to take his watch off, scratched his beard. Proctor sees watch, fails exam immediately. Daniel says, speaking of switches, know of a good outdoor rated one that does passive 24 and 48 volt with an SFP plus. Yeah, so Ubiquity has a 16 port that does that. It's the edge points. So check out the edge point. Oh, Daniel says edge point 16S doesn't quite do it. MicroTik was close, doesn't have. Oh, okay. I didn't see that comment until then. Gibby says, cool, I'm taking my CCNA on the 29th. I'm going to Pearson. So the CCNA has changed so many times since I took it the first time. The first time I took it was back in the 90s, and there was no switching. There was no Wi-Fi. Well, there was some Wi-Fi concepts, but there was none of the stuff that's on there now. It was basically all like, can you memorize this stuff and regurgitate it? So, then the last time I took it, I split it up into two exams, ICND1 and ICND2, because there's subnetting. And rocked ICND1, smoked it. Just like I smoked my Network Plus too. It just blew them out of the water. But then took ICND2, which the last time I took it's when they started introducing the where you actually get like logged into a router or a switch and you've got to do commands. Well, every keystroke is logged, and I mean all kinds of stuff. And failed it the first time, ended up passing it the second time. Then get my CCDA, my CCNA wireless. So a lot of the stuff in the CWNA was actually in the CCNA wireless. So, and plus we've been doing Wi-Fi for so long that, you know, you pick up a lot of this stuff when you do it over and over again. It's some of the more obscure stuff that you have to know for certifications is where I'll probably get tripped up. Justin says, good morning, Willie. I've deployed a Synology in a small office law firm doing a complete DC and office stack. What's your thoughts on the C2 technology? Are you talking about for the backup, Justin? JH says, I wish Synology would offer their OS in their own cloud platform. I think you're going to be happy with what you see coming in 23, JH. Their C2 identity is directly taking on every other like authentication service, whether it's Azure or Jump Cloud or name a service, Google. They are taking it head on. And in the slides that I was shown, they will be able to integrate their C2 identity, so their MFA platform so you'll be able to use C2 identity instead of Duo or some of the other products that are out there. JSB says, hello, I just got a Ubiquiti mini rack and forgot it does not support front mounted devices or front mounted. My current patch panel and PDU are both front mounted, so I have to get creative. Any ideas? No. Besides, I'm looking to get rid of a rack. So I've got a portable rack over there that I'm going to use for training that's like 5 or 6 or 10U. I've got this telco rack next to me. And then I've got a full-size rack and 2 half racks. And then I have an enclosed rack in the garage, which is for sale, by the way, if you're looking for a 19-inch enclosed rack with cooling. It's 24 U's, 32 inches deep. Jake says, I may need to talk to them. I have 100 megawatts of data center space left. Yeah, I'm sure Synology would love to talk to you. Guybor says, just got here this morning. Have a quick question for the Unify peeps. Any option for VPN with Android and Unify UXG Pro? All I can find is not possible. Need to put in other hardware. There's lots of VPN options, so I'm not sure. Yeah. Weibo says, moving tons of gear around. Most main links now 20 gig lag. If the builders do their job, I'll be moving some AP and cameras back where they belong. It's always good to have stuff where it belongs. Justin Kinsey says, I'm using the C2 identity personally. Yeah, and I have a lot of MSPs that are using it. Check out my Synology video. I mean, they are releasing some awesome stuff next year. Yeah. All right. So I have to get ready to go grocery shopping, which means I got to rock my awesome necklace. I'm literally going to put this on when we leave and put it on time lapse and see how long it lasts. I charged it last week when I found it, and excuse me, still has 98% battery. So sorry about that. Man. So I'm going to get ready to go. I want to rock out. I want to thank all of you for spending a little time with me here this morning. If you need consulting, you need to reach out, you need to talk about something, go to williehowe.com and we will get back with you, or my email address is floating around here too. So I hope you all have a fantastic Saturday. Be awesome. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.